Hi, I'm Erin. Welcome to my garden. I'm going to show you a little bit about TULLE and how I use it to protect my plants. Right now I've got my boxes covered with TULLE. It's a fabric that I remember as prom dress material. It works great to protect my plants from pests. Right now they're covered to protect them from cabbage moths because your brassicas, which is your prime crop that you grow in the fall, broccolis, cauliflower, kale, cabbage, all have an evil pest, the cabbage moth. The cabbage moth flies around and looks really pretty, but she lays eggs on the undersides of your leaves, and they hatch into little caterpillars and they'll munch up your leaves. Well, I'd rather eat my cabbage and my kale than to let the moths do it. So I've covered my boxes in TULLE, and I'm going to show you a quick lesson on how I do it. So one of the key ingredients in protecting my garden with TULLE is the TULLE itself. I get mine from Amazon. I buy big rolls that are 120 feet long, and it's folded in half, so it's about 4 feet wide once you open it up. My box here is narrow enough. I just roll it along, and then I'll let it fall to the ground. I give it a few inches down to the base, and then I measure a few inches out to give it some slack, because once I clip it, it's going to seem like it shrinks a little bit. Cuts really easily. So I've tried it, like I said, a couple of different ways of doing this. I started out cutting pieces that fit each section, and I was so time consuming. So now I'm lazy. I just spread it out across the top of the box. And then I roll another one out, just like I did that, over this side. And because my box is 6 feet across and 4 foot won't quite cover it, I do too. So if you look at this box behind me, you can see how they're now overlapping, which is actually great on the bigger boxes because the way I put it together, I can open it up and easily access my plants from either side. So I like clothespins. They work great to hold it down. They're quick, convenient, and cheap. And it really makes it easy to get into my garden to check on my plants. I just unclip it and I can come right on inside. So keeping bugs out is only as good as your weakest link, and weak links are holes. So the clothespins, really easy. Once you get your fabric in place, you just take your edges together and roll a little and clip it. And that keeps the bugs out. Don't forget the bottom though. You want to make sure you clip it to the bed itself if you can. If not, you want to put something in there like a rebar or a wire or a stake that you can clip it to. The wind in Texas is constantly blowing, and it's going to easily blow it up over the bed, and this way the bugs can't get in the sides. So if you're not like me and you don't have fancy boxes and frames around them for your TULLE, here's another easy way to do it. Here I've taken little pieces of garden fence and pulled them apart, and I've made a box out of them. And I'm just going to lay my TULLE across the frames and create a smaller box. I would spend more time straightening it and making sure all the holes are covered, but you get the idea. Use clothespins, and here they're really easy to attach. You don't need wires or anything like that around a square foot garden. Make sure you secure the bottoms. In this case, it's easy to do because your frames have wire across the bottom. So we mentioned brassicas and needing this to cover your brassicas, but one of the #1 pests in the garden is a squash vine borer, SVB for short. Most people don't even try growing squash because of them. If you want some information on it, I have a great handout I created with really good information to help you defend against them so you can have squash at home. But on a side note, my little squash plant here is protected by the TULLE, so if there were squash vine borers flying by, they're not going to get my squash. Thanks for joining me in the garden. I hope you learned something today. And if you have any more questions, feel free to tag me in the Facebook group.